Basement Politics with Freddie Vasquez. Tonight, part 2 of episode 3, the Yonkers IDA and the IDA Act of 1969. Good evening. Good evening. Happy Saturday. Welcome to another episode of Basement Politics with Freddie Vasquez. I'm your host, Freddie Vasquez. Tonight is part 2 of the Yonkers IDA, Basement Politics Unfiltered. Last week, I did an episode, part 1, on the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency, also known as the Yonkers IDA, or the YIDA. And I spoke a little bit about that. I gave a brief overview of what the IDA was, why they were established or created, and what is their purpose here in the city of Yonkers and throughout the state of New York. So I wanted to just kind of give a little recap in case you didn't see last week's episode and are not familiar with the Yonkers IDA. The Yonkers Industrial Development Agency, a public benefit corporation under New York state law, was established in 1982. The YIDA is officially designated to promote and support the development of commerce in the city of Yonkers with the aim of bolstering employment and stimulating economic growth and prosperity. So what I want you to understand, what exactly the IDA, the main purpose is to create employment opportunities or to prevent unemployment, right? To encourage and grow the local economy, improve the commerce, and bring about prosperity in the neighborhood. Have you been seeing that in the downtown area? A lot of developments going up, beautifying the neighborhood. And while some are excited about the developments, many are not. Many have a lot of concerns and have been voicing their concerns. One of the concerns that many of the residents have been voicing has been the ordinance, the affordable housing ordinance, and the lack of any increase in that ordinance. As it stands now, it's 10%. And what that means is that developments going up in Yonkers are required to have 10% of the apartments, the units in that development, reserved for affordable housing individuals, those who qualify for affordable housing. Well, as many know, last week, or was it this week? I'm sorry, I got so much going on. On Tuesday, this Tuesday's meeting, the Yonkers City Council meeting, the AHO, the new proposed affordable housing ordinance, which would have increased it from 10% to 20%, was shot down. It was defeated 4-3. And the surprise there was that Councilwoman Tasha Diaz actually voted no. I've asked Tasha Diaz to come on to the show. I've sent an invitation via email. I'm still waiting back. She's she's the only one that actually hasn't gotten back to me. Hopefully she will get back so we can have her on the show and get some clarity, because many people are upset. All they had to do was vote the same way they voted in June, right? And we'd have they would have voted to override the mayor's veto, but they did not. So that's been one of the biggest issues in regards to housing and the developments going up. But there are many different issues. And so I wanted to talk about that, and I have been talking about that, but I wanted to specifically talk about the YIDA because they play an important role in the developments going up here. When we hear a lot about the developers getting tax breaks or other benefits, right? We don't many times don't know how that's done. How do they receive these tax breaks? How do they go about it, right? What exactly what taxes are they getting breaks on, right? So again, I'm going to go over that a little bit more, and then I'll get into some more details, on more specifics on projects that are actually going up or have gone up here in the city of Yonkers that have received benefits from the YIDA. Now, I've just recently learned, aside from the affordable housing ordinance, and not being enough affordable housing, and the emphasis on the market rate developments going up and the focus on that, have gotten a lot of people upset. They say that we need to focus on affordable housing. We need more developments, to come up, to be developed, to be um, um, created here in the city of Yonkers. And, increasing the ordinance would have been a step in the right direction. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But again, earlier this week, I also learned of another issue, another problem that many people here in the city are having to deal with, right? And that's the use of local labor on these developments that are going up, particularly if they are receiving benefits from the YIDI. I'm sorry, the YIDA. I'm sorry, the YIDA, right? Because the purpose of the YIDA, again, it's to increase employment, to prevent unemployment. So if they're not using local labor, then how is it that they're receiving benefits, right? And so I've spoken with some one of the members of Union Local 456 in regards to this issue and the fact that they have not been using local labor to work on these projects here in Yonkers. And again, if the city is or the YIDA is giving benefits to the developers, then they are supposed to provide job opportunities for those that live within the area that the YIDA serves, which would be Yonkers, right? If it was the Portchester IDA, then it would be for those living in Portchester or local, even within Westchester County, even, right? But not Rochester, not Rockland County. And from what I'm understanding, local labor has only received one opportunity, and that was on the new fire department that was built over there on School Street. That was the only job that local labor were hired to work on. So I'm going to be talking with Local 456 here coming soon. We're working on a date and time to schedule that, and we'll get more into that. But that is troubling, and that is something that we need to look into, and that is why I'm doing the podcast today on the YIDA. So really quick, I just want to go a little bit more into the YIDA. The YIDA is organized to assist industrial, commercial, and not for profit organizations in obtaining long term, low cost financing, principally through the issuance of tax exempt industrial development bonds. Again, the YIDA is organized to assist industrial, commercial, and not for profit organizations in obtaining long term, low cost financing, principally through the issuance of tax exempt industrial development bonds. So, really quick, for those who may not know what bonds are issued to raise capital. So when the city of Yonkers needs to raise money, let's say, for example, because they're short, their budget is coming up short, they need money for schools, they need laptops or books or whatever, they'll issue bonds. And investors will buy these bonds. And then when they mature, they get back their money plus an interest that they make on these bonds. So, in a sense, what the city is doing or what the YIDA is doing when they issue bonds is taking on debt. They're they're taking out a loan basically. So that's one of the ways that they financially support developers, right? Not just through tax exemptions, but also through funding by loaning money. And how do they loan money? The city of Yonkers issues bonds on the behalf of the YIDA, and the YIDA is expected to make payments, right? Well, what happens if those payments can't be made? We'll get into that. Uh, Good topic to discuss. Yeah, I thought it was an interesting topic and also an important topic as it relates to a lot of what's happening here in Yonkers with the developments. And oftentimes, while we may hear YIDA here and there, and said by elected officials and news articles or whatever, um, many times we don't know exactly what is DYIDA. I didn't know until I started to do my research here, and now I'm sharing it with you guys. So again, the YIDA was created. The Yonkers Industrial Development Agency was created in 1982 for the purpose, right? For the purpose of in, improving the area that the YIDA served, Yonkers, right? Bringing about prosperity to the neighborhood, to the community, to the city of Yonkers, and also preventing the loss of jobs or creating jobs. In this case, when the developers come in with these big projects, right? They're bringing jobs. There's jobs, right? You got contractors, plumbers, electricians, HVAC guys, um, carpenters, project managers, foremans, and a lot of people are going to be working on these projects. And if they're receiving benefits again from the YIDA, then the individuals working on these projects should be local labor. Should be local labor. I mean, that is the purpose of the YIDA. So if they're not using local labor, then that's something that needs to be addressed right away. I think right away, right? Because it affects our community. So if we have people that live within the city of Yonkers who are in unions and they're not receiving jobs on these projects going up, they're not making that money. They're not spending that money here in Yonkers, right? So if you bring in people from Rochester, Rockland County, they make the money and then they go back home and spend that money. They don't keep that money circulating within our economy, our local economy, and that just doesn't affect the companies the local companies and the business owners, but the employees and their families, right? That's how they support and they feed their families. So if you're going to be bringing in developments that are going to, have $3,000, $4,000 apartments, and you want and expect the people to pay them, and you don't want to increase the affordable housing units in these developments, then we have to find a way to make sure people can afford them at market rate, right? And how do they do that? By working, by having jobs. So if you're taking away the jobs from the local labor, right? They're not making money. They're not spending that money here in the local economy, right? They're not paying the taxes, also city taxes. They live here, right? And also you're bringing in people from outside the areas who are renters who are not going to be paying property tax. On top of that, you're giving tax exemptions to the developers. I mean, it seems like Yonkers is getting shafted. Where is the benefits? Where are the benefits for the city of Yonkers, for the people of Yonkers? I don't know. Where are the benefits? So I also want to go and go over the way it's structured, right? How is the YDA structured? Who is involved? Who are the members? I'm going to show an organizational chart here just to give you a visual of who runs it, how it's run, who are the people in charge and making the decisions and deciding on which projects get the benefits. So if you can see there, I'll make it larger. So the YDA has a board, right? The board of directors, the chairman of the board is the top guy. He is the king of the castle. And that position is held by the mayor, Mike Spano. Then you have a president and CEO, and I'll get you those names in a second. You have an executive director, a chief financial officer, bookkeeper, and administrative assistants. So these are the primary individuals within the organization. I guess the administration, and the executive director. The executive director is the sister-in-law to the mayor. So the mayor is the chairman of the IDA. His sister-in-law is the executive director. She is the day-to-day operations person. The mayor is very busy. I'm sure he's got other things going on, but so that's the way the organization is set up. So again, going back to the meeting uh, this past Tuesday, the city council meeting, Councilman John Rubel made a comment that I thought was very important, and I'm not sure if anyone else picked that up, but I did mention it in a podcast I did right after the meeting, and in which he was explaining his reason for voting no on the AHO, well, to override the mayor's veto, because initially John voted yes back in June. But this time he voted no. He changed his mind, right? So his reason was, well, because the mayor vetoed the proposed AHO of 20%. And if we were to get 20% or increase the ordinance to 20%, the developers would need more financial benefits from the YIDA. So they would need more financial support in order to be able to come here, develop with an ordinance at 20%. However, because the mayor is the chairman of the YIDA and he already vetoed the proposed AHO when we voted yes, um, he's not going to provide that additional benefit. So therefore, it's not going to work based on the independent study that was provided to, or or paid for by the city of Yonkers to get done, or somebody here, and it was done. And the that independent study basically said it wasn't feasible for the developers to come here and develop with an ordinance at 20%. They would need additional financial support that would be coming from the YIDA. However, the top dog there is the mayor, and if he's already vetoed it, he's not going to provide any more benefits, right? So that was an important statement, and just kind of showing how it connects, right, and how it relates, and how it's important. How the YIDA plays an important role in the developments here, and especially when we talk about the tax benefits. And now, what tax benefits do the developers receive? Well, they receive a mortgage recording tax. That's one of the tax exemptions they have available. There's a sales and use tax exemption and a real property tax exemption, right? So sometimes they can get one of the three, they can get all three, right? And so they are saving there. And in what they do, and there's a program called a pilot program, right? It's payment in lieu of taxes. So when they get they can get a real property tax exemption, or they can pay this pilot, which they pay a lump sum, and it's nowhere near what they would pay if they had to pay their taxes, and they can pay that instead of their taxes, and they can make an agreement that can last for about 10 years. So for the next 10 years, the developer will not pay his full tax obligation, his or her full tax obligation. Instead, they've made an arrangement or agreement with the YIDA and the city to pay um, a lump sum each year. And again, that's a lot less. And I'm going to give you an example of some of the developments that have gone up, some of the money they received, and if whether or not they paid the taxes. If they didn't pay the taxes and they instead were got the pilot program and made a payment in lieu of the taxes, I'm going to tell you how much that amount was. All right. So just to give you an example, kind of break it down and see how this whole thing operates. Right. So I just want to kind of give a little more detail on the YIDA, just kind of really make sure that we have a full understanding there of what it is. I'm going to share another page um, here. Bear with me for a second. Share. Okay. So title. Now this is talking about bonds, right? And again, bonds are a debt instrument. They are issued in order for a city to raise money for schools, for roads, um, for projects like these to be developed in order to improve the city and provide jobs, right? Provide jobs. So if you can see there, let me make sure you guys are seeing what I'm seeing, and I'll try to make that a little bigger. I don't know if I can. Well, I'll read it. Bonds of the agency. The agency shall have the power and is hereby authorized from time to time to issue negotiable bonds for any of its corporate purposes without limitations as to amount. The agency shall have power from time to time and whenever it deems refunding expedient. I'm sorry, to refund any bonds by the issuance of new bonds, whether the bonds to be refunded have or have not matured, and may issue bonds partly to refund bonds then outstanding. So they'll issue new bonds in order to pay bonds that are outstanding. So they borrow more money to pay debt, um, and partly for any other purpose here and above described. All right. So again, this is important because when the city issues these bonds, the city now puts itself into debt. Now, who would pay these bonds if the YIDA, the developers, can't pay? Who do you think is on the hook for that? Who do you think? The taxpayers, right? Taxpayers. So I'm going to give you some examples now. Also, I wanted to go through some examples here of projects that have gone up and that have received benefits from the YIDA. And there are a lot of projects. There are a lot, and I didn't realize this. So if you can go on the page, actually, the city of Yonkers page there, you go search for YIDA, click on that, and you'll see some of the projects that have been completed, some of the projects that will be going up. There are a lot of projects, but it's not just limited to new developments, right? So some of these tax benefits are also going for renovations, to restore old buildings as well. So I'm going to go through some of them, and there's a lot here. I don't know if you can see that. There are a lot of developments here. So I'm going to start with all right, so project 104 Ashburton Avenue, Greystone Bakery, which I believe has been there for a while. They received a total of $25,000, or actually, that's how much they paid in lieu of taxes. So they received a property tax exemption, and what they did is they made an agreement to do a pilot, right, a payment in lieu of taxes. So they paid $25,000 that year. This is 2019. I'm sorry, and I'm just giving you examples so you can kind of get an understanding of how this works, or for example, in the pilot programs, how do the pilot programs work, right? Um, 11-23 St. Cashmere Avenue paid a total of $20,000 in taxes. These are all pilot programs. These are all projects that receive pilots. 189 Warburton, 1175 Warburton, 326 Riverdale, 406 Walnut, 555 Storage, Ashburn Avenue, LP, Avalon, Boyce Thompson, Brooks Shopping Center. I mean, there's a lot. So I don't really want to go through all of them, but there are a lot. And you can find this online. But there are many projects going up, receiving a lot of benefits. There's so many jobs or so many projects going up. I don't understand why they're not giving any of the jobs to local labor. I think they can, they have a case there. They can take that to court, right? They can definitely take that to court and fight that. I'm definitely in support of local labor getting jobs here. So I'm going to go some of the projects. Let me see. And then again, part of why they receive these benefits is because they're supposed to create jobs, right? So I'm going to read off some of the projects that have gone up. This is from a list from 2019, and then I'm going to read off how many jobs were created. They received benefits, right? They received benefits, and now I'm going to read off the jobs that they created. Okay, so it's funny. So 460 Nepperhan Avenue. Approximate cost of whatever I believe renovation there was $88,750. Jobs to be created 3, jobs retained 2. Okay, that project created 2 jobs. CCNA Realty for 470 Nepperhan Avenue. Approximate cost of this project renovation was $335,000. That created no jobs, but they received benefits. SFC Water Grant Street, Yonkers, $5 million project. They created 7 jobs, but they were temporary. None of the jobs were retained. 120 Odell Avenue, must be a renovation, $209,000. No jobs created. Actually, I'm sorry, created 190 jobs, but none of them were retained. So many of these jobs are just temporary jobs that they're providing, and they're getting all these tax breaks. I mean, there's a whole, I can go on and on. RXR Soyo, Vanderdock Park, $4 million to $4.7 million. And that was that created 187 jobs, which is good, I guess, even if, some jobs, even if they're not permanent, and it retained 0 jobs. So again, the primary purpose of the YIDA is to create jobs or prevent job loss, create prosperity within the community that it serves, right? Beautify the neighborhood. And they have been doing that. They have been giving breaks to projects going up. But the problem is that we have not been receiving any benefits for those tax breaks, for those loans that they've been receiving. The city of Yonkers puts itself into debt in order to help fund these projects. And what are they giving back? What are they giving back? And yes, Johnny Limo. Meanwhile, the mom and pop businesses can't get 0. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. In some of my research, I've seen some of these companies, these developers get a lot of PPP loans that they didn't even have to pay back. They were forgiven, right? So they took advantage of that stuff. So, and again, it's local labor, mom and pop shops, as Johnny Limo mentioned, that are suffering, right? They're bringing in developer or contractors from Rochester. There's a new development going up on Ravine, and forgot what the cross street was there. They were supposed to break ground early this week, and they're not using any local labor, but they're receiving mortgage recording tax exemption. They're receiving real property tax exemption. They're receiving sales and use tax exemption. What is sales and use tax exemption? Sales and use tax exemption is being, not having to pay tax on the materials that the contractors, developers buy, which is a lot of materials to build those tall buildings, on the labor, on vendors that they pay to do various things in the development to get it complete, like electricians or plumbers, HVAC system, people that do the HVAC system or anything else. So they get all these tax exemptions, but we have not been provided any benefits, not even an increase in the ordinance. I'm sure people would have been happy with 12%, 13%. They would at least saw that as a step forward, right? A sign of good faith that the, city of Yonkers wants to work with the residents here and not just work only with the developers, right? So I want to go over actually, I'm going to share this page, the bylaws of the YIDA. I think this is very important to understand, the bylaws of the YIDA. So you can see exactly how the organization works, what are the responsibilities of the members, how much, influence they have or power they have, within the IDA. I'm going to enlarge that there. So the name, the City of Yonkers Industrial Development Agency, bylaws of the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency. The members, section 2 here, membership. The members of the agency shall be appointed in a manner consistent with the New York State Industrial Development Agency Act and Section 903 of the General Municipal Law, as the same may from time to time be amended and consistent with the bylaws herein after approved. Each member shall continue to serve until the appointed and qualification of his or her successor. Vacancies in such board occurring otherwise than by the expiration of such term shall be filled for the unexpired term. So basically, if there's a vacancy before a term expires, someone can fill that position in for the remainder of that term. A member may be removed by the majority of the members for missing 3 consecutive regularly scheduled meetings or otherwise for not performing duties as a board member. There shall be 7 board members, and I'll go over the 7 board members here in a minute. There shall be 7 board members of the agency. A, the mayor. B, a member appointed by the city council pursuant to Section 903 of the General Municipal Law, and 5 other members appointed by the mayor. Appointed by the mayor. The terms of each member shall be as follows. And it is important here. The mayor serves an ex officio and shall be the chairperson of the agency. The city council appointee, the appointment of the member of the agency appointed by the city council shall be for a term of 2 years. Did you notice any term on the chairperson? Mayoral appointees. The appointment of the other 5 members of the agency shall be for a term of 5 years. The appointment of these 5 members shall be for terms of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 years from the first day of June 2013. At the expiration of such term, the terms of office of their successors shall be 5 years, so that the term of office of 1/5 of such members shall expire on the 31st day in May each year. The agency shall have a chairperson, vice chairperson, president, and treasurer. The chairperson shall preside at all the meetings. So basically, the mayor shall preside at all the meetings of the agency. The chairperson may execute all agreements, contracts, deeds, and other instruments of the agency. Again, the chairperson may execute all agreements, contracts, deeds, and other instruments of the agency by manual, facsimile, fax, or electronic signature, but the chairperson may delegate these activities to the vice chairperson or president. At each meeting, the chairperson shall submit such recommendations and information as she may consider proper concerning the business, affairs, and policies and procedures of the agency. The chairperson shall have authority to call a public hearing as required by law on any YIDA project. Again, the chairperson shall have authority to call a public hearing as required by law on any YIDA project. The chairperson shall not be or considered to be an officer of the agency. So I guess the mayor is not considered an officer of the agency. The chairperson shall have authority to call public hearings as required by law on any YIDA project. Now, anyone know? Has that been something that's been done? Any public hearings? Anyone? Right. The vice chairperson. The vice chairperson, shall have all powers and perform the duties of chairperson in the absence, disability, or incapacity of the chairperson. And in the event of the resignation or death of the chairperson, the vice chairperson shall perform such duties as are imposed on the chairperson until such time as a new chairperson is selected. The vice chairperson shall be appointed and shall serve at the pleasure of the chairperson. Serve at the pleasure of the chairperson. So I just want to give a little bit, on kind of the responsibilities of the chairman, the chairperson, vice chairperson, and from what I'm gathering, I think most IDAs are set up this way in cities. In other areas I've seen that the mayor, and I believe that the mayor is um, the person that is supposed to be the chairperson. I have to look that, but I've seen that in other cities. But that's a lot of influence. That's a lot of influence. And I think there maybe needs to have some kind of, maybe some citizen review. Also, some of people from the community should also be involved in this. I think they should also have some say. They should also be involved. I mean, not every single person in the community, obviously, but there should be maybe a committee of citizens, who also kind of review these projects along with the YIDA and the board of directors or whoever, and can come to some agreement and work together to create the benefits for the community, right? And the way they try to do that is through a um, something called a CBA, community board agreements, community board agreements. I believe that's what it stands for. And they are tasked with um, kind of negotiating with the developers on the benefits that the city is going to receive. So there's about 4 or 5 members that are selected by the developer, and they are tasked to represent the entire city. Now, the idea, I kind of like the idea, right? I don't think the developers should be the ones selecting those who are going to be a part of the CBA. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a conflict of interest there, right? I think it should definitely be done independently, and this committee or whatever you want, board of citizens should operate separately of the YIDA and should be kind of like an oversight, like a citizens oversight review panel. Um, that's just what I believe. Uh, Catherine Hahn, a conflict of interest will be deemed to exist whenever an individual is in the position to approve or influence agency policies or actions which involve or could ultimately harm or benefit financially the individual, any member of his or her immediate family, um, brothers, parents, children, sisters, spouses, any organization in which he or she or any immediate family member is a member, trustee, officer, member, partner, or more than 10%. Was I able to see the whole? I'm sorry. More than 10% share. I'm sorry, I lost your comment there. I don't know where it picks up again. The board shall consist of 7 board members. Yes, that's. I think I read that off. Right. Well, yeah. Well, thank you, Kathy. Just try to make the comments a little smaller so I can you can fit them all in one comment. I can read it there. But yeah, no, definitely. I mean, there are definitely conflicts of interest. Am I saying anything wrong is going on? Absolutely not. Am I accusing anyone of doing anything? Absolutely not. I don't know. But what I am saying is that there are potentials for things to go wrong when you have, the citizens and people of the community of Yonkers, rallying because they want to increase the housing ordinance, right? And then you have local labor unions also, protesting and rallying because they're not getting any of the work or any of the job on these projects. Then something has to be looked into. Something has to be looked at there, right? So, we have to understand all of this. How does this work? How does this operate? Who are the players? What are the restrictions? What are the laws? What are the, rules? What are the purpose? We have to understand all the specifics in order to best approach the situation. So if we have an issue with the YIDA or with affordable housing ordinance, by understanding it thoroughly and reading up, and there's a lot of information. Reading on it will give you a better handle and understanding of it, and then you can then express your concerns, right, in the most effective way. And this is why I'm kind of giving a little information, but I'm encouraging you to go and do the research also. Do the research yourself. I just want to read something from Moody's Investor Service. Now, Moody's is it's an organization that rates companies. It rates towns and cities on their. It's like a credit score, right? It's like a credit score for companies and towns and municipalities. So I wanted to read. This was on the Yonkers IDA, and this was from back in 2013. So I'm not saying it's recent, but it wasn't the rated moving bonds. It didn't give Yonkers a good rating at the time. Actually, is this the? No, I'm sorry. This is not the paper I'm looking for. Well, anyway, I had looked up at Moody's, and at the time that was 2013, and because they had so much debt outstanding, their credit score, so to speak, for like better term, was very low, right? So the more debt you issue, right, it's like the more debt you have as an individual, obviously it's going to affect your credit score, and that's going to affect, the Yonkers credit score. So all these factors are important. So how does the IDA give benefits? How does that affect the community, right? How is that, is it improving the community for those that live here, or is it improving the community for other people that are coming in? And is it making lots of money for developers and possibly other individuals, right? So we need to take a look at this, and we need to support local labor. We need to support, the guys over at Union 456 and Teamsters 456, and I'm going to be having them on because it's important and it goes hand in hand. Developers are not providing the labor that they're supposed to be, but they're receiving benefits. We're upset about these benefits that they're receiving. What are we going to do about it? Right? What are we going to do about it? So understanding what the purpose of the YIDA is, who are the individuals involved, how does it operate, that's how we best approach it. That's how we best, give our concerns. That's how we get what we're looking for, what we need, in the community to better our community. Because again, nothing was changed on Tuesday. Tasha Diaz, what happened? You screamed, you got very upset, you were about to get it popping, but nothing happened. Nothing moved forward. And I understand your concerns. Yes, there are a lot of individuals who don't qualify for affordable housing, but that's not what that meeting was about. And there are a lot of individuals that do qualify but cannot find the right housing or the right units, right? And there are people that are making good money but still are not qualifying, right? So that we have to work on the AMI, right? We have to work on the AMI, which is the average medium income. As it stands now, we use the Westchester. So Yonkers is grouped in with all these towns in Westchester. So these are issues that needed to be addressed, right? And we could have addressed, or you guys could have addressed those other issues in terms of low income housing, increasing benefits, other programs at another time. But at least we would have gotten some movement forward. So I think a lot of people also were confused. I was confused a bit. I'm not gonna lie. I was a bit confused, and I was fiddling with my camera and stuff like that. So I wasn't always paying attention. I had to go back and watch the meeting over. But there were a lot of people confused because a lot of people thought that she was in favor of it, that she actually, voted yes and wanted the increase. But it turned out no, that's not what happened. And her reasoning was because it didn't address low income housing issues. But that's BS. That's BS. That's BS because they're two separate things. You said yourself you knew that they were two separate things. So why did you group them together and confuse people? And you talked about smoke and mirrors. But that was a bunch of smoke and mirrors. throwing in real issues that are truly in need of of being addressed, right? You know, low income housing, the need for people to have housing. Period. You have a lot of people who are homeless now, right? You have you know, housing that are in need of renovations, that are in need of being brought up to code. Yes, that those are real needs that need to be addressed, but that was not the time. And I think by throwing all that stuff in there, it made it seem like you were for the people, which I know you are. I like to think that you are, but you kind of shafted the people at the same time. And I would love to speak to you about it. And I sent you an email to an invite. Let's talk about that because I want to get some understanding on that. I want to understand this. I want to understand. Again, I understand where you're coming from, but it wasn't the time. And so for me and others, it just seems like that was just kind of smoke and mirrors, to use your words. You know, and it was just a way of you trying to say, well, you know, they're not addressing these low income issues, so I'm going to vote no on affordable housing. But you hurt other people in the process, right? And John Rubel voting no, that was no surprise. So not he can't even be mad. So you know, I was surprised when he voted yes, right? Um, so you know, I would love to talk to you. That has to be. We have to talk about that, Councilwoman Diaz. We definitely do, and I would love for you to come on the show because we have nothing. Nothing. And again, it seems like the developers are getting all the benefits out here. You know, they're building project after project. You know, they're getting the tax benefits. They're getting loans from the city, but they're not providing jobs. They're not increasing. They're not willing to work on increasing the housing ordinance. They're not building much for the people here. I mean, a lot of people coming in are from the city. They're not tax paying. Well, they pay income tax, but property taxes they're not paying. So, what are the people of Yonkers getting? I mean, really, what? What? The council members are all bought and paid for by the mayor. Yeah, that's what I hear. That's what I hear. I hear that a lot, and I can't tell you if that's a fact, that's true or not. I don't know. I don't know, but I hear that a lot. Um, you know, if that is the case, that's, you know, that's unfortunate. When you do things like this past Tuesday, you know, it makes you wonder, makes you scratch your head. You know, I mean, I did speak to Councilwoman Diaz after the meeting. We walked out to the out of City Hall together, and she seemed very visibly upset. I will be honest. I could see that she truly was upset. Her face was upset. She was sad. But I'm wondering, was it because you voted no when you knew you should have voted yes? And you had to vote no for some reason? I don't know. A lot of people are talking. That's what they're saying. But again, I don't know. I don't have any facts. I don't have any proof. But it does make you wonder. And it does make you scratch your head. City council must welcome consultant advisors with data and present it to the people. Well, they have, haven't they? There's data or research that they've like that independent study that Rubo read off. Right. I think maybe we have to look into who are these independent companies that are coming in here and advising the city of Yonkers. Are they truly independent? Right. So, I mean, you know, there's a lot of different things that, you know, a lot of things that happen, you know, that really make you just wonder. And you know, people are very upset. I was surprised when Tasha Diaz voted no. People have been saying she was going to vote no. I kind of didn't believe that. I was like, no, I'm sure she's going to go with yes. I mean, to the point where I was still confused after the meeting. Um, so a lot of people are upset. We have to figure this out, and I don't know. So there's here's an independent audit, right? Just want to read this report on internal control over financial reporting and on compliance and other matters based on an audit of financial statements performed in accordance with Government auditing standards. The board of directors of the City of Yonkers Industrial Development Agency. Now, this was back in December of 2019. And the report, however, was dated March 30th of 2020. We have audited in accordance with the auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America and the standards applicable to financial audits contained in government auditing standards issued by the Comptroller General of the United States, the financial statements of the City of Yonkers Industrial Development Agency, which comprise the statement of net position as of December 31st, 2019, and the related statement of activities and cash flows for the year then ended, and the related notes to the financial statements, and have issued our report then thereon dated March 30th. So basically, they reviewed all the financial records, they did an internal audit, and this was the result. Not long, not much, but this was the result. A deficiency in internal control exists when the design or operation of a control does not allow management or employees in the normal course of performing their assigned functions to prevent or detect and correct misstatements on a timely basis. A material weakness, a material weakness is a deficiency or a combination of deficiencies in internal control, such that there is a reasonable possibility that a material misstatement of the agency's financial statements will not be prevented or detected or corrected on a timely basis. A significant deficiency is a deficiency or a combination of deficiencies in internal control that is less severe than a material weakness, yet important enough to merit attention by those charged with governance. So I guess they found a deficiency in their financial reporting. Again, a material weakness is a deficiency or a combination deficiency in the internal control, such that there's a reasonable possibility that a material misstatement of the agency's financial statements will not be prevented or detected and corrected on a timely basis. So basically, there's possibilities of screwing up the paperwork, screwing up the numbers, right? Is there a reason why? But again, that's from 2020. I'm sure that they fixed that by now. I'm sure they have. So again, I just wanted to I had some actual specific projects here, but I can't find where I put my paperwork here. Right? But I definitely wanted to just mention specifically about local labor. I did. I spoke with the guys at Teamsters 456. They gave me a little bit of the rundown. The project, again, on Ravine is receiving YIDA benefits, and they are not looking to hire local laborers. They're not even giving them an opportunity to submit a bid. Their excuse is that they're too expensive. They cost too much, and it's just not feasible for them. Right. But the fact that they don't even give them an opportunity, and from what I understand, and we'll get more into it when I have the members of Teamsters 456 on the show. From what I understand, the Teamsters, the union, was even willing to give them a 20% discount on the cost. Work with them to get them all the labor that they needed for all the different trades, and as well as work at getting them a 20% discount. And they still refuse to even sit with them at the table. From what I understand and what I've been told, the only project that the local labor has worked on is the new firehouse on Main Street. It's the only one. The only one. Now, the contracting company that's in charge of the project there on Ravine is a company that's based out of Rochester. But not even the labor. It's just not the labor that comes from out of town. It's also the food guys that provide the foods. They come in those little trucks and they got the sandwiches and bacon, egg, and cheeses and stuff in the back. They lift it up and everybody goes to the back of the truck to buy something to eat. Those guys are coming from Jersey. I mean, how are they receiving these benefits? How are they receiving benefits if the purpose of the YIDA is to and create jobs for the area that it serves, which is Yonkers. So well, I'm going to read this is a one that went up on 57 Alexander Street. This was 2019. Construction, it broke ground in 2019 for 57 Alexander Street, a 440 unit residential building in Yonkers, obviously, following approvals for a major financing package valued at $177 million. So they got approval for financing in the sum of $177 million. The deal was approved by the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency, a public benefit corporation that provides business incentives to enhance economic growth in Yonkers. But how is it enhancing economic growth? How? How? A lot of the people that live in Yonkers can't afford to live there. They're not using local laborers. They're not paying taxes. They're taking up land. They're bringing in a bunch of people from the city. The roads are crowded to the max. Schools are crowded to the max. Where are the benefits? You know why I like driving around Yonkers at night sometimes? I'll just go for a drive. I like to go around 11 o'clock. I may go now for a drive after this. And the reason why is because it's so quiet. No one's outside. Not, one or two cars, but it's quiet. And I love that. I love that. It's just, Yonkers has just gotten so ridiculously crowded. It's not the same Yonkers. It's not. Going back to this development on 57 Alexander Street, Rose Associates is responsible for development of 7-story buildings where 75% of the units will be studio or are studios and 1-bedroom apartments. 10% of the units will debut as affordable homes. Well, that's good. They got 10% of the units there. In addition, the residential area, the project will include 400. It included 443 parking spaces and 25,000 square feet. Wow, that's a lot. 25,000 square feet of open space, including landscape, public, esplanade, I don't know, whatever that word is, with access to Hudson River waterfront and unobstructed views of the Palisades. They have unobstructed views. What about the people that are behind them that had the unobstructed views? You guys over at Ludlow better watch out. Live in Ludlow over there, Ludlow projects going up there, the developments. You guys are gonna lose your view over there. Isn't that Indivisible or something? That organization. Anyway, the project created. Now here it is. It is the project estimated. It is estimated that the project created 631 construction jobs and 10 full-time positions. 10. That's better than nothing. But out of the 631 construction jobs that were created, how many of those jobs went to local labor? Anybody know? Anyone have an answer? 57 Alexander Street. Anybody? 57 Alexander Street arrives as the latest phase of the Alexander Street Master Plan. Does anyone know about this? The Alexander Street Master Plan. By the way, the city jail, well, it's no longer a city jail, but it was bought by some wealthy artist with benefits and help from the YIDA. And we were told that it was going to be an art gallery. You know what it became? The personal security storage building thing for their art. No one's ever gone inside to see the art. They bought that. I think it was at half the price of the offer, and it would never allowed access to the public. It was basically just some rich artists or art dealer or collector who wanted a place to store his art, a safe place. What better place than a jail? I once spent 23 hours there. They arrested me for trespassing. 23 hours in there. At least I have a story, right? It was dropped. I have no record now. Wow. So the Alexander Street Master Plan, which outlines the city of Yonkers' vision for redeveloping the Hudson River waterfront area, is a 153-acre zone and is described as the gateway project that will establish a mix of residential, retail, and commercial spaces in addition to outdoor public areas. So this hasn't even been fully developed yet. And I don't know if anyone's gone by or driven by Alexander Street there over by the Greystone Bakery. Yeah, it's all blocked off now. So I would imagine that that's part of what's going on here. They're building the Alexander Street Master Plan, right? And it's taking up 153 acres, described as the gateway project that will establish a mix of residential, retail, and commercial spaces in addition to outdoor public areas. Now, the residential, okay, I understand. The retail, what kind of retail? I mean, if it's a bodega type of thing or a deli, I understand that. But are they looking to have like a shopping center there in Alexander Street? It says commercial spaces. What are they going to be putting there? It's ridiculously crowded. How do people get out of that area? It's crazy. It's ridiculously crowded. Buena Vista, Alexander Street, that whole pier, by the pier, it's crazy. I couldn't live there. But again, out of 631 construction jobs, how many were given to local labor? And that's something that I'm going to be discussing when I have the gentleman from Teamsters 456 come on the show with me next week. Look out for that. I'm looking forward to it. Pretty cool guys. I've spoken with them a couple of times now. Give me some information on what's going on, and they want to talk. They have a lot to say, and they want to know why they are not being allowed or being asked to come to the table or being allowed to put in bids. And look, I don't know all the details. This is what I'm being told, right? So we're going to discuss it. And if you're someone that disagrees, because I've seen a couple comments on my post when I've mentioned it of people disagreeing, blaming union bosses, and other stuff, please come on, comment, and let's discuss. But I look forward to that. So tune in next week, and look out for the time and day on that show. We'll have, again, Teamsters 456 will be coming on Basement Politics with Freddie Vasquez to discuss all the developments that are going on, and not just in Yonkers, because this is happening throughout Westchester. A lot of developments going up throughout Westchester, and local labor is not being utilized. And a lot of them are receiving these IDA tax breaks. So it's not just Yonkers, and I'm not picking on Yonkers. This is not, something where I'm targeting individuals or I'm looking to, I don't know, expose something. No, this is just to give people information on the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency and the IDA in general and what it does, and how it's supposed to benefit the city of Yonkers and the people of the city of Yonkers, and how it has not been benefiting the people of Yonkers and the city of Yonkers. Some people have been benefiting, right? Who are the people that have been benefiting? Hasn't been local laborers. It's not the long-term residents who can't afford to live there, who are also can't afford now to live in the rentals around these developments, as everything is going up. That side of town is going up. Gentrification. They're getting the poor out. And really quick, I just want to mention that, one of the biggest and probably the main argument for not increasing the affordable housing on those who vote no is that the developers will not come here. If they increase the ordinance, developers will not come here. Let me tell you, that's a bunch of BS. That's a bunch of BS. I'll tell you why. You can't get that river waterfront property anywhere else. You can't go to White Plains to get it. You can't go to New Rochelle to get it. You can't go to Mount Vernon to get it. It doesn't matter what deals they will offer in those other towns. The purpose of developing along the water is to develop along the water. Now, the real master plan is the Riverwalk that will be completed eventually at some point that will go from Manhattan all the way up to Albany, connecting all the river towns. So this is a big project that's already been in the works, already been thought out many years already. So that's BS. That's BS. And if you don't think it's BS, if you truly believe that, then look, I volunteer my time to come in there and negotiate with you guys, with the council, with whoever, the YIDA, whoever negotiates. I volunteer. I don't want any money. I'll come in there and I'll work something out with the developers. Let me give it a shot, because I mean, I can't imagine that they are going to say, oh, well, it's 20%. And look, it doesn't even have to be 20%. It could be 15%, but even 20%, which is still nothing. I can't imagine that they will completely shy away from Yonkers. That's a bunch of BS. That's a bunch of BS, especially when they're receiving a bunch of tax breaks. White Plains and New Rochelle does not have line item placing its mayor on the board. White Plains and New Rochelle does not have line item placing its mayor on the board. So you're saying that, and that's for the YIDA, for White Plains and New Rochelle. Well, City of Yonkers, the bylaws are set up to where the mayor is the chairman of the YIDA. And again, I'll show that. So yeah, there shall be 7 members of the agency: the mayor, a member appointed by city council, and 5 members who are appointed by the mayor. So as it stands now, the city of Yonkers, that's the way it is. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. It just hit me. That makes a lot of sense. No wonder everybody's scrambling for his mayor position in 2 years, or how much time we have left before the mayor race. Makes a lot of sense. Is it that they want to be the chairman of the YIDA board? I don't know. I'm just learning. I have so much stuff here that I can't even get it all out. But that makes a lot of sense. And people are scrambling. People are scrambling for the mayor's seat. I'm hearing a lot of talk. Who's going to be the next mayor? Is it is it Rubo? Is it Nader Sayage? Is it Shelley Mayer? Is it Corazon Pineda Isaac? Is the mayor going to go for a 4th term? If he does, who will support it? Who will be in support of a 4th term? I don't think so. Hey, I could be wrong, but I don't think he would do that. I think the mayor may be looking for, to move on up, maybe become the governor, Governor Spano. Sounds nice, right? But who will be the next mayor? And will the next mayor be more in support of affordable housing, increasing the affordable housing ordinance? We have to think about this stuff. We have to think about this when that time comes. We have to think about this. We have to really start to think about the way we vote, because it seems like, and I'm new to a lot of this, but it seems like people vote the same way, yet expect change. That doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So there you have it. That's the YIDA. So again, the purpose of the YIDA, the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency, is to create jobs, to create employment, or to prevent unemployment for the area that it serves. And there've actually been cases that have been taken to Supreme Court in which IDAs of other towns and municipalities did not follow the guidelines of the YDA, and the judge ruled in favor of the residents of that town, city. Right? They were given benefits, but there were no benefits being received for the area that it served. That's the trade-off. That's how it's supposed to be. Why is it not that way? So again, I volunteer my time. I'll come in there and negotiate. It's what I do for a living. Insurance settlements. But I'll give it a crack. Why not? Let me give it a shot. We need to do something, right? Because we're still at 10%. We're still at 10%. And one last thing before I go, I didn't make this point last week, early in the week, actually, after the meeting. What was very disappointing about the whole outcome of this affordable housing ordinance, the way it turned out, was that it just, to me, it said that the council are there for not much. What power, what purpose do they really serve? When they have a majority and they still can't get something passed, what's the point? And then I start to wonder, was that all strategy by all of them? Well, except from the city council president. I can't imagine that was strategy to go through what he went through. But in terms of this affordable housing, was that strategy? Did they know? Did some know that the mayor was going to veto the proposed HO, and which is why they voted for it back in June? It was just to look a certain way before the primaries, right? Certain individuals changed their vote and voted yes, and their elections were pretty close, right? They almost didn't win. So I wonder, were all of them playing a game? Are they playing this game? Although Councilwoman Shanae Williams was very passionate, and I believe that she truly wants it. And she's always remained steadfast. So has the city council president. Actually, and Moranti also, and Brain, you guys have remained consistently no. You have to give credit for that, being consistent. The mayor says to the council, jump. They say how high, and it seems like that's the case. Seems like that's what the case. I've had people mention why Councilwoman Tasha Diaz voted no. They say she was promised things. She's supported by the mayor. But again, these are just things that people say. What I'm hearing, I'm just, I'm repeating them. But who knows? I mean, it really does make you question when something like that happens. Something's not kosher there. So Tasha Diaz, Councilwoman Tasha Diaz, I would love for you to come on the show. I'm always fair. I call it like I see it, or at least how I see it. I do wear contacts, so I can get it wrong sometimes. But I would love for you to come on the show. Let's discuss why you voted no. Because as it stands now, people see you as the mayor's, person that does everything, right? That's what they're seeing you as. And some people have lost faith in you. And now your credibility and moving forward, and maybe with some people wasn't always, but at least with me, I'm nobody, but at least I was someone who was like, yeah, Councilwoman Tasha Diaz, she's out there. I see her at Serrato Park giving out food, and people give, and people will criticize that. And I understand where they come from as well, but people will mention that, okay, you give out food, you give out food, you give out food, but what are you doing to improve their lives? Some of the food is bad, I've even heard. But look, you know, uh, at least she's out there. I see her. I guess I do. I don't see other elected officials out there in the community as much. Although I have seen Rubo. That's funny. That's interesting. I have seen Rubo several times over in Serato and Riverdale. Very surprised to see you there. Just kidding. No, but I have seen Rubo there with Tasha. And look, they both voted no. They both voted no, and they do a lot of partnering up together. So I don't know what's going on there, but the people lost. The people lose. They're the ones that are ultimately suffer. You know, they're the ones that have to now deal with trying to figure out where they're gonna live. But again, I'm starting to think that maybe they don't care about individuals who need affordable housing. They're not looking to increase affordable housing developments because we don't want affordable housing individuals here, really. We're changing it. We want to look like a more affluent city. By the way, the average income in Yonkers is $380,000, which I was surprised. I thought it'd be lower than that. So just thinking about the argument of Westchester AMI versus Yonkers AMI. I mean, even at $380,000 a year, that's not a lot of people are making close to that here in the city. But anyway, that's it. There you have it. I will get into more details on the projects. I did want to mention some. I just got some. I got all these documents in front of me, and it's just crazy. I don't want to sit here and go through it, but I will be definitely kind of dissecting some of the projects when I bring on the Teamsters 456, the local union, to discuss why local labor has not been involved in the projects going up. If you support local labor, give them a shout. Give them a shout on my page. Let them know you're supporting them. Let them know. So we'll talk more about specific projects, the benefits that those projects got received from the YIDA, and as well as the benefits, if any, we received, the city of Yonkers received, jobs they may have created, and other information. So we'll get more in detail when I bring the local Teamsters 456 on. They have a lot to say, have a lot to talk about, and they're looking forward to coming on. So that's going to be definitely an interesting show. Definitely interesting. Also, I want to remind you tomorrow, I will be joined by Republican candidate James Nolan. James Nolan will be on the show with me at 8 o'clock tomorrow to discuss his campaign. And the guy's been hustling hard. He's been hustling hard. Listen, he's out hustling all of you out there, all you running in a campaign right now. I see him out there. I see the vehicles out there, the signs. Like, I see Mr. Nolan out there campaigning, knocking on doors, speaking to people. I see him everywhere. I see his campaign vehicle everywhere. So he's doing a lot. He's definitely doing his thing, and he's recently been endorsed by several important. He's gotten several important endorsements recently. He's getting a lot of a lot of attention there, and I think he's gonna do it. I think he's gonna win. His facing Democratic incumbent Ruth Walters. I think the guy's gonna win. I don't know. Listen, I could be wrong, but he's definitely out there. He's knocking on doors. He's very visible, and not only that, you know what I like about James? Not that he's a Republican. Some of you might crack that joke. Not a Republican. I like that he doesn't just talk the talk. He walks the walk. This is a guy who's already worked on legislation before he's been elected, right? And I'm thankful for it because he was instrumental in getting this the noise ordinance with the cars and the drag racing and all that. I was being affected by that. I live off Central Avenue somewhere, and I could hear the cars at night, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. It was annoying. It would keep me up. So thank you. I appreciate it. So that's what we like to see. We want to see elected officials doing stuff for us, right? We want to see them doing their jobs. And James Nolan is definitely somebody that's out there. He's hustling. He's working. He doesn't just talk the talk. He walks the walk. I like the guy a lot. Again, but it's up to you guys. You vote how you want to vote. You make your decision. That's on you. But I like him a lot. He'll be on the show tomorrow at 8 live, 8 p.m. live. So stay tuned. Tune in for that, I should say. Also, Lakeisha Collins Bellamy will be joining me Tuesday, 8 o'clock. I'll have the episode that I've been waiting for. I've been wanting to speak with Lakeisha for quite some time now, but we finally did it. We locked it in, and we are going to be presenting you the interview that I've been waiting for with Lakeisha, Democratic candidate for Yonkers City Council, Lakeisha Collins Bellamy. She'll be joining me Tuesday at 8. I also have Judge Thomas Quinones coming on the show with me. We have to lock in a time and date. Hopefully my assistant's working that out. She'll let me know. But he did email us back. Also, I got an email back from John Rubo, Councilman John Rubo. We're trying to set that up, and we're going to talk it out. And I often crack jokes, and I mess with John. A lot of that is because I'm trying to encourage you, hopefully get on the show. I see him from time to time. Look, I'm happy that you responded. I look forward to that. So I can't wait. I'll be having Councilman John Rubo come on the show, Democrat, for the 4th District there also. And am I leaving anyone out? Oh, no one except for Tasha Diaz, because I did not receive an email back from you. Even John got back to me. Councilwoman Tasha Diaz, I thought we were cool. Anyway, folks, those are the shows coming up. Tune in with tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Have Republican James Nolan, Westchester County Legislator candidate for the District 15th District. Oh, District 15. He'll be on the show. And I'm going to talk a lot about what he's been doing, because again, the guy has been working a lot, so he has a lot to say. I look forward to it. So thank you for joining me tonight. If you have any comments or anything to say about the YIDA, please email me, politicwithfred@gmail.com. politicwithfred@gmail.com. Let me know some of your thoughts, your comments, concerns, and also I'm looking for topic ideas. I would love for you to email me with the topic that you would like to see discussed, or even people that you'd like to see come on the show, because I reach out to anyone and everyone. And I did forget to mention, I have a senator coming on the show. Stay tuned for that. I will be announcing more details in the near future. So I have a New York senator coming on to join me on the show, Basement Politics. Forgot to mention that. So we have a lot of interesting things going on. But please email me with any topic ideas, questions, concerns, comments, or anyone you'd like to see on the show. I will reach out to them. Hey, give it a shot. You never know. So let me know. I'd like to hear from you. Thank you very much, folks. I appreciate you joining me. Basement Politics, Freddie Vasquez. We're only getting better. I'm only getting better. We're going to keep growing. The show with Lakeisha Collins Bellamy is going to be a bit different, and we're only getting better. We're only going to evolve, improve. Thank you for watching me. I love all you guys. Yonkers, love you. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddy Vasquez. You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddy Vasquez.